I thought we played unselfishly. I thought we played connected offensively as well. Did some good things, against a really good program, come off a very good year, a sound, solid, physical program on the road. It was a great opportunity for us. We're appreciative of the opportunity, and I thought we took advantage of it. We got better this weekend.
You know how games like this allows the opportunity to really mix and match and just kind of switch it out with different combinations. How much did you get from that standpoint?
We had a decent idea. We're playing a little bit differently this year. Guys are playing for the most part their position. We've got one guy that brings us a lot of versatility in Dylan, he's being asked to execute more stuff, primarily offensively, than some of these other guys. But for the most part, we did what we've seen in practice and tried in practice. We played a bunch of guys, and again, I thought we played well.
Seemed like a big game for Asa. Just what impressed you the most about him in his first time out in the collegiate atmosphere?
How hard he played. Asa's a hard-playing guy. Really changes ends of the floor. Intense. Flew after rebounds in the offensive glass. Sat in the stance defensively and really exerted a lot of energy. He's a talented guy that just plays hard.
9 new guys on this team. Just how do you feel like they did communication-wise, being on the same page, that sort of thing?
I thought they did really well. There weren't a bunch of just glaring communication mistakes. There wasn't glaring effort mistakes. Some stuff to clean up, of course, and there's a few possessions there defensively where we were just okay, primarily in transition. Sometimes that's after a negative, live ball turnover, things like that. Like, we've all got to get mentally tougher and respond better to those things. But it's early, and I'm sure that there's a lot of us out there in college basketball thinking the same thing, and that we're good at these type things, and we got to get a little bit better at these others.
There's a difference between a roster and a team, and I guess trying to mold a roster into a team is
Yep.
what you're doing right now. What is that challenge like, and how is this team coming along?
I really like where we're at from a cultural standpoint. I really do. I think our guys are pretty connected, especially for this time of year. It being this early. We've got a good roster. Every team in the SEC's got a good roster. We're as talented as we've been here in the 3 years, or the 2+ years I've been here, for sure. But how well these guys gel and connect and play for one another and buy in and accept roles, those are huge factors. And to this point, I feel very good about it. I hope I'm saying the same thing in a month, or even being more positive about it, because those would be good signs.
What kind of progress is one of your young guys, Jordan Key, making?
Jordan's he's a good player. He's throughout the recruiting process, we talked about him coming to Georgia to redshirt. His initial plan was to go do a 5th year and do a prep year, and he had a few Division I's recruiting him and evaluating him, and he had some offers, but he wanted to play at the highest level. And we said, hey, why don't you? Here's an idea: trade a prep year for prepping here. Redshirting at Georgia and being a part of this rebuild, and we believe in his future, his character. He's a really good fit for us, and happy to coach him every day.
You talked about it a little bit. How big of an opportunity is this to learn about your team, not just from the fact that you get over a week off between outings, but you've now seen them play against a different team?
It's huge. I'm really glad we did it early. And I know some other teams that had even played earlier than us, but I think this was pretty early for what I've tended to do, in the past few years. And I'll do it again. It gives you a chance to evaluate earlier. You give our guys a chance to play against somebody different. People talk about it every year. I bet you guys are sick of playing against each other. They want to see a different jersey. And this team, I wasn't saying that until the couple days before we took that road trip. They were about ready to play somebody else, and now we get a chance to really learn from it, evaluate it, watch it closely, with our guys, and try to take a big step this week.
How much does that even carry over to the film study, that it's against somebody else? It's not, interspun?
No, it definitely carries over, because it's a different. It's an opponent, right? It's not each other, and you're not trying to defend or playing offense against what you see every day and what Georgia does, what your teammate, what you're doing right on the other end of the floor. It gave us an opportunity to prep for a team that we weren't fully sure, because we don't have any film on this year's opponent that we just played. But we made some points of emphasis and decided how we were going to guard certain actions certain ways, and so we can evaluate just how well we did with the scout, with our focus and our attention to detail.
How much does that exhibition, being on the road and that being a road trip, sort of help things with like chemistry and camaraderie and building sort of a team bond?
Guys had about 8 hours together in the bus, so I don't think it can hurt, unless you got guys that don't like being around each other. But these guys, it's not cliche, it's the truth. I wouldn't say it. These guys spend a lot of time with one another. It's pretty rare. Our guys did last year to a certain extent. I think this group, especially for this early, again, has got a pretty high level of connection. We wanted our first road trip, we wanted to be able to use this one. I called Mike Hill, the athletic director at Charlotte, and said, "Can you give us a road game?" We wanted it just to have the opportunity to learn from.
With a guy like Asa, with the pedigree he has, how excited are you to coach him and try to get him as close to his ceiling as possible?
Oh, it's awesome. It's a great opportunity every day. With all these guys, Asa as much as anyone, of course. He's super talented. He's driven. It's really important to him to maximize his potential, and he's unique. He's special in that he's not just a talent. He's a talented kid who plays really hard, who plays the right way, who takes good shots, who's just as focused on rebounding and defending as he is points and touches and all those things, right? He's a winning player. It'll translate to games. We see it every day in practice. And he's not overly vocal as an 18-year-old freshman, but he leads by example every day.
What did you see from Silas, Blue, and Dylan, the three guys that were back from last year?
Added consistency. Silas played with confidence. Blue's an improved overall player. Dylan is too. Silas is shooting it better. They're all improved. It's nice to have that, even though it's not a ton of continuity. We're talking about three guys, right? But they were three guys that were on the court for the majority of the game late in the season. And to see that, that paying off for these guys are getting better, and they're leading, in certain ways, sometimes vocally, sometimes by example. But they've become staples of this program, and they're pieces that we've, built around, and we've complemented them with other good players, and we have a chance to be good. And those guys all obviously individually have a chance to be very good.
With Savo coming from that European style of basketball, what is the biggest adjustment as you've seen him a little bit he's going to need to make moving forward?
Savo is so used to having the ball in his hands and give me a ball screen, I'm gonna go get somebody a shot or myself a shot. And if it doesn't work, I'm gonna go get it again and come off another ball screen. And he's probably the best. He's the best passer that I've ever coached. And I've coached some really good passers. He's got to make a big jump with the level of intensity and the level of defensive effort and intensity, and as part of that freshman learning curve. But from a basketball IQ, skill level, passing standpoint, he's got a lot there. He's got to learn how to affect the game in other ways, specifically defensively right now.
The upcoming matchup with UCF, just what can you learn about your team playing a power conference opponent, a Big 12 squad? Just what can you learn about them this early on?
I think it'll be really similar to our last opportunity, at Charlotte. It's different in that it's a little bit of a higher level. The American's a really good league, but the Big 12 is a higher level league, and Johnny's got respect for the job he does in their program, and they're going to have a higher level of talent. So we'll be able to learn a lot offensively and defensively. It's also a great opportunity to play in front of our fans and play in the Steg and get that out of the way, because you're always leery as a staff, as a coach, that first couple times you play in front of your fans, how's that going to be? I liked our approach and how we handled it on the road. It wasn't a true road environment, of course, but I liked how we handled it. We'll see. I hope I'm saying the same thing. How we handled it, playing in front of our people, our fans, and whether we're just as connected, especially offensively.
And tell folks who you guys play for like the first month of the season. Do you feel like 12th place in the SEC? Is that kind of what you expected?
Yeah, somewhere in there. You know, and I've never really cared about that. I just don't, and we don't have a goal. We've talked about it a lot. Well, our goal is to finish here, finish there. Our goal is to be the best we can be. Our goal is to be a good team. We're a good team. We are a good team. Our goal is to continue to grow and develop and play high-level basketball, win some close games in the SEC. I mean, there's just such a fine line between, you know, where you finish based on some of those, making a free throw here or there, making an open three, whether or not you get a call down the stretch on the road, at home, what have you. I mean, our league right now is just, it's nuts. It is an unbelievably talented league with double-digit teams for sure that have a chance to make the NCAA tournament. We're going to focus on us and getting better today.
Any other questions for Mike? Yeah, can I ask you kind of a big picture question?
Sure.
With Tony Bennett, what kind of the state of the game has kind of forced him out. How are you acclimating to all this change in the recent years, and where do you think the state of the game is, and how can we fix it so folks like Tony don't leave the game? Yeah,
sure. First off, a ton of respect for Coach Bennett and what he's accomplished for a long time. I've been a fan of his. You know, to each his own. It was a personal decision for him. I'm really happy. I'm thrilled to be the coach at Georgia and to be able to come in here to this gym every day and help these young people get better, learn on and off the court, compete, teach a game that I love. We're all adapting. Sure beats working. It just does, you know, and the game's changing and landscape's changing. But as a staff, we're focused on just continuing to lean on our administration for what's next, and what are the guidelines going to be, and when are we going to find out? And some stuff's changed, but it's I'm really pleased with being able to you know, to coach at Georgia every day.
What are some of those biggest adjustments you've had to make to the new era of
recruiting has changed for sure. You know, that's obviously more transactional now. It's just it's what it is, right? The portal has provided a lot of changes. I mean, those are the most obvious ones up front. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that our guys are able to benefit. Or I am, you know. And again, a lot of it is still it's basketball, and it's helping young people get better.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.